This episode is brought to you by Farm Bureau Financial Services, Zach Miller Agency. If you're looking for an insurance agent with a personal touch, someone willing to have the real conversations about what's important to you, assistance with submitting claims, and offering quality coverage options, Farm Bureau Financial Services, Zach Miller Agency may be the place for you. Whether you need home, auto, farm, commercial, life, or health insurance, we're here for you. Check us out at agentzachmiller.com. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agriculture Insurance Company.
My next guest was a standout college and indoor professional football player. Shon, thanks for making time to be here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No problem. I'm Zach Miller. We are touching base with Shon King today. Let's get a little background on you. See, were you born and raised in San Diego?
Yeah, born and raised in San Diego. Was out there basically the first, until I left junior college, and then ended up coming to the Midwest to play college football.
What was it like growing up there?
Oh, it was amazing. It's San Diego, and to be at the beaches and the Disneyland and have all those things that people go do for touristy things. Just to have that accessible to you, just on the everyday. Situation was amazing. So I appreciate it now that I'm older and away from there, what I did and the fun that I did have while I was there.
And it was, the climate there is pretty good too, right?
Well, yeah, 100%. On a bad day, it's 60 degrees in the morning, and then the sun breaks through, and then you're back at 85 and taking your coat off and stuff.
Yeah. I love California. San Diego's a fun time. I've only been there once, but the time I spent there was pretty good.
Yeah, and you got the best Mexican food and all kind of different varieties of food. So I love it. It's a true melting pot, and it is America's finest city for a reason.
For sure. Do you go back quite a bit?
I try to make it back, at least a couple times a year. With us being a little bit more seasoned now, people are passing away and stuff. So sometimes you gotta make those trips unexpectedly, but right. I try to get back a couple times a year.
You still got quite a bit of family there?
Oh yeah, and they're spread out all over the United States, but right. San Diego's pretty much the base.
Gotcha. That's really cool though. Did you have a love for sports at a pretty young age?
Yeah, I did. Growing up, my father wasn't in the home, and so I took a love for football and just all sports, watching it on TV. I'd have my socks. We had the socks with the 3 stripes. So whoever was playing that day, whether it be like the Eagles or the Steelers or something, I'd have those socks, whatever team I wanted. So I really grew up as a fan of football and baseball and basketball. But I really loved football. So
was it the physicality or just the sport in general?
Well, so since we're here and we got time, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So it started out, I started out playing soccer at the boys club.
Okay.
Indoor soccer. We won some championships. At that point, I noticed I had some pretty good feet and things like that. And then one Saturday morning, I went up to the rec. We have the rec center. So I went up to the rec. I wasn't a member of any team up there. I had my striped wife beater on and my cutoff jean shorts and my bike. And I just was up there watching the other kids play, and then we ended up playing this game called backstop, where you kick the ball up against the wall, and they all got uniforms on, but I don't have a uniform on because I'm not part of any organization. Right. And this man happens to see me kicking it. His other son was playing with this. One was playing in the game, and this one was playing with us on the backstop, and he was, I came to get his son, but noticed me out there and was like, "Hey, do you want to play soccer?"
Wow.
And at that point, my eyes are big. Yeah, I want to play. But, now it's, okay, take this paper home and go get it signed and come on back up here.
Yeah.
So I drove home. It was only like 2 minutes, drove my bike and took it. And then I noticed like blocks away that my grandfather and my grandmother's van, they weren't there. So now my heart's beating fast. So then I ended up going up the street to her best friend's house, and all her grandkids were already playing soccer and stuff. So she basically signed the paper for me to go, and I drove my bike back up there, gave him the paper, and he now, after his son's game, had to follow me home with the bike to take the bike home.
Yeah.
and took me to his house, gave me a pair of his son's old cleats, and then went out there and scored a couple goals, and the rest was history. So that was where my organized sports career started, right there.
What a story.
And a buddy of mine, EJ Watson, he ended up being a really good high school running back in San Diego, and then playing at Colorado State. He and I were like the only two black kids at that time playing soccer.
Yeah.
And then from there we ended up both being football players as well. So that's where it started.
It's great for the footwork.
Yeah, 100%.
I was a soccer player too. It was you got to really, like, football's something, but
yeah,
soccer is a whole nother deal.
Right. And so there, what happened was one of the games we had was on the backfield of a high school where they were playing football over there. So as we were driving to our field in the back, I noticed that there's like young kids playing football over here. So it was my first time seeing Pop Warner.
Yeah.
And so in my head, I'm on an adventure. We went and parked at our game over there. It doesn't start for like another hour or so. So I walked over to the football field, and then that's when I kind of like decided, like, this is what I want to do right here.
Wow.
And then so that was my last year playing soccer, and then I started playing football after that at the age of 11.
11. Was that so? You started playing football exclusively at that age?
No, because I was in our neighborhood. We had the rec center, like I said. So
right.
you played football at the rec, baseball at the rec, and basketball at the rec. So I played all of those.
Okay, good.
And it was like myself, and a name you guys might know is J.J. Stokes.
Yeah.
From UCLA.
Yeah.
We grew up playing baseball, basketball, all of that together in the same.
That's awesome.
So we grew up as childhood friends, and actually our families are friends too. But he was one of the guys that came out that he went to be the first round draft pick for the 49ers.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started with.
That's
football.
awesome. Mm-hmm. And you and I both kind of come from an age where you played all sports.
Yeah.
Because nowadays they're kind of getting people to go down one path, right?
Right.
What do you think about that?
Well, it kind of depends on situation. See, Nebraska is different than California.
Right.
In Nebraska, I mean, the population is smaller, so that you kind of need a lot of those kids to play.
Yeah.
Out there, like the high school, when I moved back out to California for a little bit, I went to Helix High School. That's a charter school. That's where Reggie Bush, Alex Smith. That's a really good school.
Yeah.
So when you came to Helix, you came there to play football and run track. You were not going to do anything other than football and track if you're a football guy.
Yeah.
Because if you weren't there for spring ball, if you weren't there for certain times in the summer and all that kind of stuff, then you just weren't going to be playing. So it's different. So I understand being from California, but having been out here and seeing what goes on. I understand the need to have kids playing multiple sports. But, at the same time, when people start thinking about it in the business aspect of it, you sometimes just need to do what's best for your child and do the things that are going to prepare him to use his moneymaker to do what he's going to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which is tough. That's a tough decision to make, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Especially if they're good at multiple sports. And maybe they let's say in the soccer, let's say you loved soccer, but obviously you were better at football. Mm-hmm. And then, but your love for one sport kind of trumps. Yeah. That's a tough decision to make.
Well, and then, I mean, on top of all that, you're in Norfolk in a little small hub.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, like in other places or even down in Omaha, sports, high school now is like college. You're going to a school that specializes in your sport.
Right.
For the most part. That's basically how it's working now, whether people like it or not.
Even in Nebraska?
Well, yeah, down there in Omaha, there's people transferring all over
Oh, right. It happens all the time, right?
Yeah.
Creighton Prep and...
Yeah. You leave Omaha, Benson, you're one of the better players, you're going to go to wherever they're winning at.
Did they ever regulate that at one point where you had to live in a district? Or in Omaha, do they just kind of let it free reign?
Well, I can't speak on Omaha like that because I don't.
Right.
I don't really
just
know
over
that.
Your knowledge.
Yeah, but like in California, I know at one point, and I guess I'll say yes, they had, the rule has changed so many different times. It used to be where, like when I first was in high school, they had the VEEP program, Voluntary Ethnic Enrollment Program.
Okay.
So So like buses would come to certain neighborhoods and then take those kids to different neighborhoods to go to school.
Okay.
So that was the first of it. But then there started to be this specialization stuff where people were now transferring. And here's another part of my story. My senior year.
I'm going to move that just a little bit closer to you.
Okay, my bad.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, my senior year, I was at one school, and then I grew up in another neighborhood and started hanging out with my buddies all summer, and I was telling my grandmother, I'm ready to transfer. I'm going to transfer. So I played passing league with a different school.
Really?
We ended up winning the championship and all that.
Wow.
And then because of CIF regulations, our coach at the first school told the people that, hey, he's out of district. He doesn't live over there. And then I had to go back to the regular school. So, and then, and not not to put too much out there about certain people, but there was a situation some years ago in San Diego with the Alaves, Chris Olave.
Yeah, I've heard of that name, yeah.
From the Saints, their star receiver.
Yeah.
Ohio State. Yeah. Well, his older brother, they were going to transfer up and move somewhere else, and then it became a address thing, and that sparked a big move in the kids that were coming up to play Pop Warner, and they all went to a different school, and they won championships. So,
wow. Mm-hmm. And that probably set a precedent for multiple sports then too, right?
Well, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's interesting. So how was your high school experience?
Mine was great. I mean, the school I went to was it's Patrick Henry High School. At the time, we played in the top league in San Diego, so it was very tough. You're playing against Division I players every week, week in, week out. Our basketball team, I ended up playing basketball my senior year, and we ended up winning our conference and going to the playoffs and things like that. So it was a good experience. I mean, our school was big. There were certain people that I didn't meet until like the last month of school because our school was so big. And,
what was your class size?
I want to say it was like 1,500 somewhere around there.
That's really big.
There. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Who's like in your mind the most famous person you maybe played against in high school coming out of there?
Oh, from San Diego, there's a lot, man. There's
that
a
you
lot.
maybe that you played against.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just guys that got drafted. Like I said, well, JJ was my friend, but he was in our conference. I played against JJ.
You played against him, okay?
We played against Darnay Scott, who went on to be the. He and Marshall Falk were the highest scoring duo in yardage in college football. So Darnay, and he's one of my buddies as well. Like David Dunn, who was he was at Morris. There's just guys, and it's and some of the guys I played against, and some guys I've just seen with my own eyes, just because I'm a football guy like that. Right. So I've seen a lot of really good guys, even dating back to when Junior Seau was in high school.
Really,
I seen him playing an All-Star game. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a guy. I mean, I know his ended kind of tragically, but he was a great player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great player.
He was a dog.
Super dog. For sure.
Yeah.
What's funny is that the most famous person I ever played against was Danny Woodhead. So that's all I got.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's something. That's something.
That's something.
I mean,
outside of sports, did you do any other activities in high school at all?
No, but I was. I was raised in church and stuff, so I was with my family at church and Bible class.
You weren't a drama guy or nothing like that?
No, I didn't do any extra drama, any extracurricular like that.
Yeah.
Just my sports, and
that's good.
That's what I did. I mean, and then I had a buddy. This was back in the late '80s and early '90s. So I had buddies, and we danced and went to clubs and did the little 18 and older stuff,
right?
Things like that until like got together and started playing football again.
That's awesome. So how did you make your decision on colleges?
Well, so I mean, that's a whole long story. So at the end, what ended up happening was, so let me just kind of break it down a little bit.
We got time.
Okay, so I go to after high school. I wasn't really working out and doing the stuff that you really need to be doing if you're going to go play college football. Right. I wasn't like super highly recruited like that. I was still developing. I was pretty good, still a pretty good football player with a football IQ, but I still was, hadn't developed in a weight room and things like that. So And then plus, I didn't even know, I got senioritis so bad, I don't even know if I even want to go to college.
I was gonna say, were you dealing with some burnout?
Yeah, so I didn't even know if I wanted to do that. And then, so yeah, for a couple of years there, the first year I went to spring ball and one of my buddies, and we just went and did that. And I still was like, I don't know if I'm ready to go to classes. That was just me. That was, there was not a huge educational background, coming up. So so that wasn't really really
like
important.
A focus.
Yeah. So
was that kind of I don't mean to interrupt you, but was that a lot of it was either like a sports or bust kind of thing in that time frame?
Well, at that
for
point,
a lot of people.
See, people just hadn't learned because we're all good up until you start working hard.
Right.
So some people made it and did actually make it on and went and had great careers and things like that. For me personally, I hadn't buckled down with my academics yet, nor had I started working out the way you need to work out to be to have
be at that level.
Yeah, to be having the kind of success you want to have.
Right.
Because if not, you're just hoping and wishing when you show up to camp.
Right.
So yeah, that was kind of it.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No
You can
problem.
You can keep going.
So then I went to that first year of junior college and like I said, wasn't really focused in class yet and stuff. I was supposed to go into the military.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because by this time I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't want to do. And then I got a couple uncles that had been in the military, and so to kind of like really, I was kind of like appeasing my grandmother. I just went and talked to the guy and all that kind of stuff. And
which branch were you looking at?
it was the Navy.
Navy.
Yeah. So then that didn't end up. I played my season, thinking I wasn't going to classes and stuff. Right. I wasn't. So I played that season. Ended up being ineligible by the end of the season. And then after that Navy thing didn't work, I was like, okay, now I had like an epiphany. I was laying there one day and I ended up calling my junior college coach, Coach Dave Fager. He had recruited me hard out of high school, junior college coach. But, at that time you're just like, I'm not doing that. I'm not ready. Or sometimes I'm not here. I don't want to answer the phone. It's just not ready for that kind of accountability.
Yeah.
And then once everything died down and I started to realize like this is going to be it. I called Coach Fager and told him this is what was going on. I know I messed up with my grades and stuff, but I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back stronger. You can believe in me. I just wanted, I was calling him to reassure him. He's had that conversation, I'm sure, with
multiple times.
Yeah, from a lot of athletes who he put his trust in or whatever, and then they went and did their own thing.
Right.
So, so from that point, I just got back. I started to run early in the morning. I started to hit the stairs 2 times a week. Me and my best friend, we did that. We did that for a whole off while Tony Banks. This is a funny story. While Tony Banks, who was the quarterback the year before me, he was there playing. I was watching him all his games. He was a quarterback against Nebraska when he played for Michigan State, Nick Saban.
Oh, really?
In '95, yeah.
Okay.
That first game when Nebraska went there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
So I went to all their games that year. '93, I went to all the games and watched them mentally. I was still running the stairs hard. I was doing everything to get myself right. And at this point, I don't know what this is going to lead to, but I just knew I was working really hard. Yeah, I was just working really hard. I'd run those stairs, like I said, twice a week. We'd go out on the field and run my routes and all that kind of stuff after. So I was already tired. I was mentally challenging myself and locking in and all that kind of stuff. And did that for a whole year. Once I got my grades right, that final summer class, passed it, I was good to go. Then it was time. I was back eligible, and it was time to go.
That's great.
Yeah, and then from there, things really just took off. Well, there's a climactic part a little bit of a down when the season started because I had put all that work in and ran and did all that stuff, and then the first game we played, which was probably the least talented opponent we played, I only had 2 catches for 9 yards.
Oh, no.
So I was like crying and went up to the stands and was crying like this can't happen like this.
Right.
I didn't put in all this work and 2 catches, So then from there on, I ended up basically leading the nation. So I ended up with 75 catches and like 1,400 yards in those last 9 games, 16 touchdowns. And I ended up being, like I said, leading the nation and being the number 1 receiver coming out of JUCO.
So you were kind of a beast.
I was really beastie. Yeah, I was. I was pretty good with my craft, and I worked hard. You know? So I had learned to do that now, but before that's what I was lacking. And so again, that's what I teach to the kids I train and I work with now. We all think we're pretty good until you start going and putting in this extra work, and then you see that you don't have to doubt anything about what you're thinking. You're confident in what you're doing and how you're doing it because you have done it so many times.
Now, that was at Wayne State, right?
No, that was Mesa College.
That was Mason College.
Yeah, that was.
And you
Mesa
went to Wayne State too, right?
Yeah, I finished up at so there's a story.
Okay, I'm just making.
If we got time.
That's good. You keep going. You keep going.
Got a little bit of a skip in there.
No, I see. That's why I did some research, but I missed some of the connections. So you go ahead.
Okay, so now I've been recruited very hard by. Okay, so I come in. And this is kind of like my boys in the hood story that I went from, not knowing how I'm going to get a scholarship. Now I'm the nation's leading receiver. By the 3rd game of that season, I had broke the conference. Well, let me back up. In 2 back-to-back weeks, I had against the number 2 team in the nation, Long Beach, I had like 17 catches for 215 yards.
Holy cow.
The next week, I had 11 catches for 291 and broke the conference record. That Tuesday, USC showed up at my school. So things changed real quick.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, you were probably.
Yeah, I went from like this kid who didn't know what was going to, now this
Big
work is now
schools are coming
paying
at
off, especially after 3 weeks ago, I was crying because I didn't want this to happen like this. So I just kept on working, kept on grinding. Things just kept on happening. Like I said, those big schools came, SC, Bobby Bowden, talked to him. Steve Spurrier. These were the top teams in the mid
at that time.
And I was even considering Nebraska because when I was in high school, I had a Nebraska starter.
Oh, did you?
I loved Nebraska when I was younger because every weekend on ESPN, you're seeing the score 76-3, and you're seeing the tradition, the all red, like at the bowl game. I was like, I like that stuff, and so. I was considering coming to Nebraska after the 94, so that would have been in 95. Yeah,
that would have been crazy.
Yeah. So what ended up happening, I ended up, that mid-season starting to happen, and now the coaches are, they're coming through. The big D1s have kind of, because they know I'm like a half a year behind academically, so they kind of fell off. The Division I D1 AA's at the time, they were coming, and now like leaving scholarships on the table, like, here, you take care of these classes, you can come here. Or the Division II, if I went the Division II route, I could just leave right now after the semester in December or in January. Yeah. And so that's kind of like what it was playing out. That's what I was kind of thinking. And then here's another little loophole in the situation. During the summertime, I had went up to, me and my best friend, walking around the campus, and went up to the basketball court with the basketball team in there. And since I had been doing all of that, the stairs and the jumping and running, went in there and played full court with them. And my buddy Ali Nayab was the point guard. We get the rebound. I'm on the right wing. He's on the left wing, like at half court. I'm like on the wing. He throws like alley-oop from mid-court, and I catch it and smash that thing. And the basketball coach stopped the drills and had me. He went in and got the head coach, and they came back and then had like a private workout. So they wanted me to play basketball.
Wow.
But I was, after this junior college All-American football season, I was like, I had to make a choice. Either go play basketball, and they're leaving in like a week to go to Hawaii to this basketball tournament, or just go Division II and just go ahead and
try to go down the path.
Yeah. So then I chose to sign with Wayne at that point, and there's another story behind that. I signed with Wayne in December, the first week of December.
And they were actively going after you?
Oh yeah, they came hard because at the time Wayne was putting out like they got like 4 or 5 receivers out of our conference that were
Oh,
all
really?
Americans that couldn't go, like Jerry Garrett, Byron Chamberlain. Those were D1 guys. Kevin Swain.
Yeah.
Those guys were all Americans, and then they ended up at Wayne.
Okay.
Wayne was like they were throwing the ball all over the place. You'd get a California quarterback or one of those guys, and then you get the best receiver out of our conference that couldn't go D1 ended up at Wayne.
Just as like a stepping stone to keep going.
Well, that was your situation. I mean, the guys that went there ended up going like Byron went to the Broncos. Swain went to he went to the Barnstormers and then to the Jets. Damian Porter played with and he was Iron Man of the league.
And now it's not a thing anymore, right? Because now with the way the transfers are, it's a whole different story, right?
Yeah, back then there was no transfer portal. You just had to go ask the coach if he will release you to go.
Right.
And that's what it was. So you if you were coming to Wayne though, you weren't going to come and transfer out. If you were a receiver, this was the best place to be.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was one of the best places to be. So now in my story, what ended up happening, since we're talking about all this stuff, so I ended up having a class, and I won't get into too much details, but I had a Black Studies class that one of my teammates didn't put my name on the final because he was having some issues with his girl and some stuff, and so he didn't put my name on the final. So I ended up getting an incomplete in that class. So my scholarship that I just signed 2 weeks ago is now voided because you have an incomplete. Well, the teacher, and now she's gone to Jamaica. It's December, and now I have to get a hold of her. I get a hold of her. She says she'll fix it when I get back. So at the time, I was like, okay, well now since everything's been pushed back and I can't really sign now till February, I'm gonna just take my trips to the different schools.
Right.
And I was told that you can't take those trips. You're our property. And so I didn't really feel good about that.
Ooh.
And Missouri Western came like a day later and offered me a trip out there, and I love the environment.
Yeah.
The recruits that we had coming in were really, really good, and they had already been winning and stuff. So I signed with Missouri Western. Well, they told me I'd catch 60 to 80 balls, and that didn't really happen. And it wasn't like, my skill level had fallen off or anything. So I played there 1 year, led the conference in punt returns, ended up getting in a little situation with my roommate, and then I ended up having to sit out the next season. And that's when Coach Wagner called me back from Wayne State, and he was on his way out to Fresno State to go coach with Pat Hill. And he said, I heard about what happened up there. It's all good. I understand. It's good. We got Kevin Swain leaving, and we still have Damian Porter and Andy Follett here, and we need another stud here. And so I re-signed. Then I signed. Went and asked for my release, and then signed with Wayne.
Wow.
Finished with Wayne. So I played that last season with Wayne. Got there. For me, it was a breath of fresh air from the get-go, just because, like, I don't have to worry about if I'm going to get the ball because this is a throwing situation.
Right.
So I just wanted, for me, it was like business. I'm trying to go pro. This is what I'm thinking about.
Right.
I need to touch the ball.
Right.
So I can.
Gotta get yours.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's what it was. That's where I was at with that. I mean, it's like college. It's college, but my mentality, I was thinking about what's going to help me best for my future, which is basically like I did a transfer portal move, basically.
Yeah.
Went there and did that, and then went there and broke Wayne's school record in the third game. And
I was gonna say,
and I only ended up playing 6 3/4 games that my senior year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because in that game that I broke the record, I got horse collared right before halftime on a 36-yard punt return. I got pulled up and landed on my ankle, and then I had 4 catches for 4 catches for 100 yards at halftime, and when that happened, and then I came out in the second half on a majorly sprained ankle and had 11 for 174. in the second half.
And just think what that game could have been like.
Well, right. If we'd have did that in the first half, I'd have had about 30 catches.
Right.
So the total that I had at Missouri Western, I had that in 3 games. My first 3 games at Wayne.
Wow.
And one of those games was against Northwest Missouri State, and I only played in 3 quarters because I was inactive for the first quarter.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So there's
You got a crazy path.
100%.
I can't believe they did that on the calling you property. You hadn't signed nothing or nothing, have you?
Yeah, no, I hadn't re-signed anything,
Nothing.
and he said that, and they just didn't.
Obviously,
set well.
they wanted to keep you, right?
100% they did.
Yeah.
That was it. But I just wanted, for me being a kid in this situation, I just wanted to go take my trips and just go see what the fun is about. Just go have fun. And when he said that, it kind of just threw me for a loop.
Yeah,
So,
that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Okay, so that was your senior year.
Yeah,
that we just ended on right there.
Yeah.
So broke records. Are you? I might have got this wrong. Or did they put you in the Hall of Fame?
Not yet, because I just finished my schooling, and you have to have graduated from Wayne to be put in.
Okay.
So I know
It's
I've
coming.
talked to Mike down there, and it's coming. Yeah.
All right, good deal. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about right after that. So what's your path right out of college?
So I went back home. I went home personally and was thinking that's where it would be better to train, to go
Because you're thinking
professional.
pro.
Yeah, to go professionally. I mean, I wasn't thinking about staying at Wayne to finish another year of schooling and all that. I'm thinking professional football.
Well, professional athletes only have so much of a window to get their work in, right?
Right. So I ended up going back to California. Kevin Swain and Damian stayed at Wayne and did their training there. And I went to California and tried out for the Arizona Rattlers, who had just won the championship in the Arena Football League.
Yep.
And knowing, because I'm an arena coach now, knowing how things worked, I mean, I didn't really have a great chance to make that team just because they were a championship team loaded. And Danny White was their coach. They had access to Cowboy players. And even though I went and did really well at the tryout, I did really well, very well. And they didn't pick me up. So then
one of those situations where they were kind of already stacked.
Well, they're stacked.
You probably could have made any other team.
Well, and then the thing is, too, just like I say, I know the game now. If someone had said, hey, Shon King's going to be there, you might want to look at this dude, even though I still went out there and did what I did. Mm-hmm. But if you have that, you have that nudge from somebody else, they look at you a little bit differently.
I got you.
Yeah. So, so after that, then I just, I was playing flag football and just training and stuff at home, waiting for something to happen. And then at that time, Damian and Swain went to Iowa, the Iowa Barnstormer tryout, and made the team. So I'm like, I was kind of sick.
Happened?
Yeah, like if I should have stayed out there and went with them. But, God has a plan for everybody, and everybody's road is different, and mine was, definitely made for me to go through and build character and help me get through the things that I needed to get through. So 98 goes, then, like, I guess it was around the summer of 98, I hear of this new league starting up, the IPFL, which is now the IFL, the Indoor Football League.
Yep.
I heard about that starting up. They were going to have this game called the Opportunity Bowl in Vegas, where you paid money to get a hotel. They're going to run you on the 40, do a testing day, and then they're going to have a game that night.
Kind of like a combine type?
Pretty much. Like, so they did that on a Friday, and then the game was the next day at night. Yes.
And they just kind of put you on
random teams. Yeah, just random and just play a game.
Okay.
And the guy who put that together was the Idaho Stallions head coach, which was the league commissioner. He put that together. So I showed up, and I was with everything I did at this point, I was showing up always ready, to perform. And so I ended up that game with 6 catches for like 140 yards and 4 touchdowns. So the
4 touchdowns?
Yeah, 4 touchdowns. So
on 6 catches.
6 catches for 140 and 4 touchdowns. So he
I
signs
want you
me.
on fantasy.
Hey, I mean, and we ain't even talked about numbers.
I know.
Yeah, because I was that kind of guy. I mean, I was just the more times you put the ball in my hands, the more times something's gonna happen. So, yeah, I went and signed with him that night. It felt good about my career. I mean, again, I got buddies who were first rounders doing all this and all that, and this was my plan. This is what God's plan for me. This was not my plan. It was what He was ordering my steps to do, and so then that happens, and then the '99 season comes up, and we end up. I played for the Idaho Stallions, and I end up being the league's leading receiver.
Really?
Yeah.
First year out.
First year, and then that was the first year of that league. So 90 catches, 1,020 yards, and 20 touchdowns. Wow. That first year, first team all IPFL and things like that. So that was good. You know, I was starting to prove to myself that I'm, consistent and to just keep doing what I'm doing and things like that. And then so from there, after that season, my buddy Damian Porter, he's like one of my best friends now. He was playing for the New Jersey Red Dogs, had got traded from Iowa over to New Jersey now.
Okay.
All right. He told those coaches after the season, "Hey, I got a guy who played with me, and he went to Wayne with me and Swain, and he was telling them about me, and their offensive coordinator happened to be at that time Frank Hagee, who, and I didn't know any of this was going on, but they were starting this new AF2 league. They had the Arena Football League, which Kurt Warner was in, and they had the AF2, and Frank was about to get the head coaching job in the Quad Cities.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I didn't know anything about this. I'm just showing up to the workout. They invited me to a workout. I went, did well as I usually do.
Yep.
They didn't sign me, and and then all of a sudden, like a couple of weeks later, I get a call from Frank. Hey, this is what's going on. This is what it is. We really liked you at Jersey, but I'm taking over here. Would you want to come play here? Because I could have still said no and tried to go play in another league or go do something else. But I remember to this day, he sent a Christmas card, and it was the arena lit up, and back with the Mississippi River in the background, and I was like sold, like I'm there. That's a nice arena. I'm okay. Let's do this. And then again, I show up. You don't know anything from a can of paint. You just show up like I do, lock in, work hard, grind, and we ended up going 19-0 and setting pro football history
in 2000, right?
In 2000, yeah. So that was a year. The football gods are always looking out for you and things like that. And so I had been an All-American a couple times in college. I had done things, but I hadn't won championships. Mm-hmm. And so that was God's way of placing me in the right situation and letting that happen. Because that's pro football history. Jersey's retired. There's not too many people out there that can say they had 2,000 yards receiving in a season and 1,600 return yards in a season.
That's nuts.
That's on a 50-yard field. That's a lot of times.
It's a lot of running.
It's a lot of running. So, I'm just very fortunate that happened. And then we ended up playing in the championship game that year, and a couple days later, the Chiefs general manager at the time, Carl Peterson, called and sticky note with his number, give us a call, and called in. I had a tryout. Myself and Mark Grebe, who was the quarterback for the San Jose SaberCats at the time, we both were invited to a private workout, and then they were playing the 49ers the next day. So it was, we did our workout and then go chill at the game. And then that's where it was. Here's one of the greatest stories of my life. So we're doing all the contract talks and, just the basic talks up in the offices and stuff. And then they ended up taking us downstairs to the field. Like, let's go, we'll take you down to the field. So we go down and the elevator and get to this, the tunnel, and there's all the cheerleaders leading you out to the field. So it's almost like a recruiting trip where it was. And I look out on the field as I'm coming through the tunnel or out of the tunnel onto the field. I'm looking out there, and you're just seeing Arrowhead Stadium,
Right.
everything from the ground level. You're seeing everything, and
Which is crazy to see.
yeah,
when you
yeah,
get into
like
a
that,
stadium.
yeah. Because usually, unless you're playing, you're always looking down. But
Yeah.
to be here, to look up and to see everything is just, it's as a football player, that's your sanctuary.
Yes,
so that's
it
just, but like at the 3-yard line, I see somebody out there stretching. I look over there and I see, and it's one of my best friend, like one of my best friends from kid, JJ.
Oh my
He's
goodness.
stretching. And so I'm telling these guys, like all the press, like the people who took us down there, hold on, I'll be right back. I was like, I can go out there, right? And they say, yeah. And then he's like, what's up, man? Like, it surprised him.
Yeah.
I'm walking up.
Didn't
on
know
him.
you were there.
You're right. Yeah. What's up, man? And we shook hands and did all that and told him about, we had a championship game the night before and all that kind of stuff. And then I happened to see Jerry Rice out there running around too.
Oh wow.
And so I was like, yeah, introduce me to Jerry, man. And Jerry came over and shook my hand. And so I got to tell him the story because when JJ and I played in Pop Warner the year, he was the running back. I was a receiver. So yeah, that's where JJ got those skills as a big man. Yeah, he used to be a running back.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a cool situation. And then from
That's
there,
probably somebody you looked up to, right?
yeah, absolutely. Because he was a stud. He was big and bigger than everybody and really, really athletic. You know what I mean? So, so that was that situation. And then from there, I signed with the New York Dragons.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was there.
I missed that. So this is all new to me.
Yeah, so that was the year after Quad City. I signed with New York. I basically could have signed. I had Orlando and
Probably had anybody.
yeah, I could have went to
that.
those, and then plus I had just worked out for the Chiefs. So now I knew what it was New York, but it was the Iowa Barnstormers. I knew what they were doing or knew what they were about because our owner in Quad City owned both of those teams.
Yeah.
Jim Foster, who invented arena football.
Okay.
Yeah, and then so when we in 2000 we went and scrimmaged them. So I knew all those guys. I got to see them, and plus you see them on TV. But I knew I wanted to play with Aaron Garcia. That was most important. That he was like arguably the best arena quarterback, to ever play. That year when I played with him though in 2001, he ended up being the first quarterback in pro football history to throw 100 touchdowns in a season.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so we were letting it loose. And we had my college mate, Swain was on our team too. So we were having our little West Side
You just
connection.
having fun.
Yeah, West Side, and then Aaron was from California as well, and we were just it was going into arenas and just letting loose.
100 touchdowns.
Yeah, he threw 100 touchdowns.
Even in arena, that's pretty.
That's a lot.
A lot,
That's
right?
a lot. That's a lot. And then there's other numbers. Like I said, I should have gave you this before I got here. But
We can look him up. He can look him up real fast if you want.
you can look up some Quad City numbers. There's one that I had this thing we had in Quad City. We had outscored everybody by
This is the Steam Wheelers, right?
Yeah,
The
by
Quad City Steam Wheelers.
we had outscored everybody by 100 touchdowns in a season.
Oh my God! Oh, you outscored them.
We outscored them. Yeah, and between myself and my buddy Xavier Patterson, we are. I mean, unless somebody else has some other numbers, I think we're the highest scoring duo in football, arena football history. Well, over that 19 game situation, I had 56 touchdowns and he had 40. That's
Holy
96
cow.
touchdowns between two people.
That is
So
crazy. And a lot of people got to touch the ball, right? I mean,
I mean, there's this. I have it on my phone. I should have sent it
That's
to you.
okay.
But it has all the numbers basically from that year. It's not going to be on
the website.
Yeah, but it has all the numbers for that year and how many players scored touchdowns. I think we had 5 players that scored 15 or more touchdowns. And, yeah, and 19 different players scored a touchdown that year. So, yeah, and that's arena football. That's what it's all about.
Definitely. It's a high scoring game.
Yeah, 100%.
It was the year 2001.
Yeah, 2001, New York.
No, it was in New York. So it was the New York stats. Or do you want the Quad City stats?
I mean, you don't have to really look up. I mean, it was we did a lot as a team
Yeah.
at Quad City, which led to that 19-0. New York, I mean, we were a very solid team as well, but we were just more offensive driven.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
More than the.
Yeah, well, because we only gave up in Quad City. We basically averaged 40 points victory spread. Yeah, we were beating people by, like, we were scoring 10 touchdowns a game. They were scoring 4 touchdowns a game.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That is just some of those numbers. That is just crazy.
Yeah, it was good times, man. Definitely good times.
Yes, you won the Arena Cup. Is that what it was called?
Yep.
Arena
Cup.
Cup
in 2000 and then again in 2003.
I don't know why they don't have stats on here. We should have. We should have looked them
You
up.
should have probably what you could have probably looked up on is Our Sports Central and then type that stuff in because that was where the stuff was way back then.
There you go. Maybe type in.
You can find there's all kind of information if you type in Steamwheelers and stuff, and then they did. I want to say they were doing the Dragon games as well.
Were they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See if you can find a search on there somewhere, and I'll keep trying to look too. For some reason, my tablet's not working. But that's okay. So we ended off. Where did we leave off?
In New York, and then after that, I signed with Tulsa, and then that's when I won the second Arena Cup champion with Tulsa.
So you won. So you're multiple Cup champion.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. Very
so
good.
Quad City, New York.
Tulsa.
So what was the reason for leaving after each year?
So they was basically from Idaho to Quad City. That was a jump in the league and
jump in the league,
and it was going to be It was going to be more talent in the
more
end,
talent,
too.
Yeah.
And then the jump to New York, that was more pay. That was more like pay. You're moving up to the parent league. Yeah,
got you.
Yep. And then after that, I decided, I actually at that point I was kind of like, I just had my son, and I was kind of like teetering, like, do I still want to
do it?
Yeah. That's where I was at with that. And so I ended up leaving New York and then signed with Tulsa later on in that season.
During the season?
Yeah.
Okay.
Signing with Tulsa during the season and then finished up with them and won a championship.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Obviously you play well everywhere you go. There's really nowhere where you at.
Yeah, but by that time I wasn't the offensive specialist. So, I was still a quality player.
Yeah.
But
were you turning into the savvy veteran at that point?
Well, yeah. Now because I started my career basically playing offensive specialist, which is the top receiver.
Right.
And then when I went to New York, I was still a top receiver, but I chose to go there as a two-way player just to play in that offense. You see what I'm saying?
It was so high, explosive.
Yeah. So I still got in and scored touchdowns, 2 touchdowns a game and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's
awesome. And you said they ended up retiring your jersey.
Yeah, in the Quad Cities, the jerseys hanging there in the rafters. So that was just a special and a unique time. My whole career was, starting from high school, even Pop Warner, but that 2000 that was just something that was like icing on the cake. You know what I mean?
It's perfection.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was different.
There's not too many teams that have perfection.
It was different. Yeah, it was way different.
What was the feeling right after that? You guys win. What's that first initial feeling you had?
Well, I go back to the feeling that I had of my teammates way before that because it was all about accountability and everybody doing their 1/8.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of bought into that. Starting early, the coach was he was no nonsense about how he was handling us in camp. And we started to take accountability for what we were doing and how we practiced, and those levels ramped up. And then midway through that season, we had kind of like a gut check. We got to be 8-0, and we felt good about everything, but we went down to Arkansas and it went to overtime, and we were this close from him making the field goal, and it would have been a loss.
Wow.
So he missed the field goal. They kicked the ball off. We kicked the ball off to them. We get an interception like on the second play. Run a fake reverse to me, hand it to a guy who had not even played the week before, and he scores and wins. Yeah, because they were keying on me and wins the game. And after that, everybody's practice level and stuff went up another notch because we were feeling like we weren't never going to let that happen again to get that close. Yeah,
right.
we were good and still practicing hard, and we were up 28-7 to start the game.
Right.
So we were kicking their butt and doing stuff, but that's just the ebbs and flows of football, especially arena football.
Arena football for sure.
Stuff can happen real quick. I mean, and again, like I said, the next thing you know, I'm standing under the goalpost, and I stood in a certain area, so I knew, like, if it goes over my shoulder over here to the left, he missed it. If it goes right here, that's it. And it came to my left, and that was it. And then the next week after that, and us feeling the way we felt, it was like unleashing dogs. We came out and beat Greensboro 103-3.
I would have hated to be on Greensboro.
Yeah.
I found a crazy stat here. It was from 2000, your guys' championship game against Tennessee Valley. Mm-hmm. The first 9 seconds, you had a 55-yard kickoff return touchdown.
First
9 seconds of the game. Way to
goodness, good. Way to come out
one hell of a game already.
Holy cow.
Well, see, there's all kind of and that's why I'm glad I'm telling this story, because there's all kind of hidden stuff behind stuff that people don't know about when things are happening. And in that case, I was on fire because the night before at the banquet. Okay, so we went 19-0. We had the defensive player of the year. My buddy was the two-way player of the year. I should have been the offensive player of the year, or or whatever, however you want to do
something. Yeah.
Our quarterback threw 73 touchdowns, 87, and only had 4 picks. So I think we split votes. But so when we and then our coach goes 16-0 at this point, or we're 18-0 going to, and he doesn't get Coach of the year.
Oh my God.
So I was like, I left the banquet mad.
So that little fire.
A big fire.
That's the Michael Jordan mentality right there.
150%. That was where I was at. Yeah. I wasn't laughing. I wasn't giggling. I was ready, and that's what happened on the
Did you even
play.
shake hands before the game?
Well, you got to do your little stuff with the handshake and the coin toss and stuff. But other than that, I was just extremely locked in. I mean, now I didn't know that's going to happen, but that's
what you wanted to happen.
Yeah, that's why my reactions were the way they were during that game and things like that. Mm-hmm.
It's a good find.
Well, and then the next minute, you had a 29-yard touchdown reception.
That's right.
So 14-0 in the first 4 minutes.
Wow. That is crazy.
Yeah, we came out, we went, and credit to Coach Frank Hagee. He was a great game planner, and he didn't have to do a whole lot with us. I mean, because we were pretty solid with what we were doing, but he was very smart in our first, certain plays that we ran and certain things that we did. Like on that play he's talking about, we went with a quick motion or stop motion where I ran to the line of scrimmage and I just stop, and then I'm gonna back out and we're gonna start our cadence again. But the cadence threw the line off, so he ended up snapping it, and they were offside, so it was a free play.
Nice.
And then I took off, and Billy stepped up in the pocket.
Threw it.
Yeah, and that was, and I say Billy Dickin. I was fortunate enough to play with the Big Ten's leading passer, and that was Billy Dickin. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I think about it, you got the Big Ten's leading passer and the guy who's supposed to be in the NFL.
Right.
You should be 19-0.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, that's the way I was starting.
It's
to
crazy
think about
some
it.
of the talent that went through some of that you kind of not forget about, but you didn't really think about, right? Mm-hmm. It's crazy to think about some of that going through now and talking about this. My next question, though, is coaching. We talked a little bit about coaching. Mm-hmm. What percentage at that level, at the professional level, at the level you were at, what percentage is on the coaches? What percentage is on the players of winning 19-0?
Well, I mean, the coach he calls the plays and he has to get you mentally prepared to do. I'd say, I'd like to say we made it kind of easy for our coach because we worked really hard and we did all those things and we watched film and that was one thing we always did. Like if I came to your apartment or I went over there was somebody who was always running the film. The film was always going. So you got to study your opponent and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, like right now, I'm calling plays. It's the plays. Yes, it's a certain thing, but you got to have the talent. You got to have the athletes, and so a lot of it is it's not the coaches aren't they can't do it without the player. Well, it goes both ways. You know, it goes both ways. So, but I just think the more you get a group that buys in, like the Patriots and those kind of situations, then you're gonna get, because at the end of the day, the way I broke it down and I've said the 1/8. You need that person to beat the person in front of him more than he's beating you for the duration of the game. That's how you, and then when all 11 guys are doing it on a big field or 8 guys in arena, then that's how you get wins. But if you got the center messing up right here on this play, the quarterback on the other play, the receiver on that one, that's 3 downs, and it's not all the same person, but it's we're on the sideline because we got to punt. Yeah,
mistakes kill you as a team,
right?
For sure.
And so if you don't have, so you want smart, tough, physical, smart. You know, those are the kind of guys you want. They can help you win. If you don't have smart football players, it carries over, and then
that's almost in every sport.
Well, right.
You got to have smart players that know the game, that know not to lose their head.
Well, and then when I'm saying smart too, it's smart and fundamentally sound, you know, because like that's the difference in high level college football and low level or high level high school. Your foot placement, your base, the way you get your footwork set up so you don't get blocked, the way you take on a block, same foot, same shoulder. There's certain players that don't know that stuff,
right?
And
it has to become second nature if you're going to play at that level. Like you can't
even be
think
thinking
about it.
Yeah, you're not thinking. You got to just go. You got to run fast and get there at the right, you know, with the right framework and all that kind of stuff. Or else you're just out there.
And that's how you get there faster than the other guy.
Right.
Is by being more prepared and doing it the correct way without having to think about it.
That's it. That's it.
That's crazy. So when did you? Is there any more of your playing career that you want to get through?
No, I mean I just ended up after that year in Tulsa when I won it. I ended up signing with the Philadelphia Soul. That was the first year of the Philadelphia Soul with Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
So we were having.
I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a good time out there. I mean, and again by this time, and I'm just being real, the lights flickering with my career.
Yeah.
I don't really. I mean, and then I mean, these are the differences that you don't know. Or you don't really think about at that time, or I didn't, but playing in, you know, New York and Quad Cities, and those happen to be similar offenses.
Yeah.
And when I went to Philly, it was a different style. It was Coach Trigg and Coach Hohensee, and those guys had their own style as opposed to the other style. Mm-hmm. So it was not a bad thing. It was just I hadn't played in that, wasn't real comfortable in that yet to be going to camp, you know.
Yeah.
And so I ended up getting released there, and then I ended up finishing in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, with the legendary coach Les Moss. Finished the season there, and then we were one game from winning another championship.
Wow!
And then I decided to hang it up there, and then from there, I started playing flag league around here. That was when they first started up a flag league here, and the Hy-Vee East team. We won 27 straight games.
That's almost cheating putting you on that team, isn't it?
Well, it was because I was still pretty active and things like that. So, but no, it wasn't. It was a good time. You had Todd Euler. And those guys.
Know. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I still did my thing, but it was fun. It was fun to end my career being able to at least do that.
It doesn't sound like it was too hard of a decision to retire. You were kind of ready.
Yeah, well, and that's what I say, man. I played the game. I didn't let the game play me. Yeah. I didn't have to play until the wheels fell off and all that. I played. I can walk. I'm not too injured. And, got championships. I have rings. I got, the names, the jersey in the rafter. So
Records.
yeah, all that. So I'm good. I played. I'm fine with my career.
What was, I don't know if you want to get into it a whole lot. What was kind of you said you got a pay bump going to New York. What was kind of the Arena Football 2 pay? Was it a decent pay scale?
Back then, okay, so these it's kind of like the same now. Those lower leagues, they pay about 200 to 250 a game.
Okay.
There's sometimes, you can get, like when I played for Quad City, we had a $100 win bonus. So, they all wanted, because we went 19-0. A lot of people say we were cheating,
Getting extra money.
Well, we got the extra $100. That's all we got.
Yeah.
Nobody was getting. We were all unproven. So
Right.
Frank was smart enough. We wasn't gonna break everybody off a whole bunch of money.
Right.
And we just got there and worked hard and pushed each other and did like you're supposed to, and then it showed. And so, when you get back at that time, the Arena League guys, it could be anywhere from 400 to 700, 800, 1,000. Quarterbacks making more.
Right.
That was like the early late 90s. And then when we because our championship game, that game he was watching, that was on TNN. And then from there, it was TNT, TNN, and then it went from that to the ABC contract, and then ESPN. So
Right.
things kind of like
Bumped up as it went.
Yeah. So there were a guy could be making 25,000, another guy could be making 150,000.
Yeah.
And that's for your 16 games or whatever.
And that's why a lot of people. Did you still have another job at the time too?
Not doing that. You
Not
didn't
doing
have
that,
to.
yeah.
You get that for 5 months. So some people did.
Yeah.
If that's what they had already
Yeah.
going on. But young guys like myself who just now you're making a little bit of money.
Right.
You can but you had to learn to save that because you are now going home
Right.
with all that big lump sum. So
Right.
you need to learn to save it and put it where it needs to be.
I just remember the story of Kurt Warner was working at Hy-Vee.
Yep.
Playing for.
Yeah. Well, he was working there before.
Yeah.
So people, and that's what it was. I mean, if you had a family and stuff back in those days,
Right.
you still probably needed
Wow.
to do something, so.
At least you were able to go that path and not have to worry about that, right?
Well, I mean, while I played, it was all right.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, and I still, in some cases, when I was making less, that's when I started working in schools, and things like that, getting in the school districts.
That's good. That's awesome to hear. Mm-hmm. I love that, talking about your playing career. I hope we did it justice. The playing part of it, anyway.
Yeah, we did. We did it all right. I mean, we did.
We can do more if you want.
No, I mean, I don't need to sit and brag on myself. I
That's
just
what you're the guest. This ain't about me. This is about you. I do have, at some point, want to talk a little bit about your coaching career.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep talking about your playing career,
no, that's fine. I just was saying numbers. But we all know there were numbers.
fantastic
and things.
player.
Well, yeah, that's it.
From what we read already and what I already knew.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've known you for a long time. We don't talk a whole lot, but I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
I get busy. We both get busy.
Yeah.
But because I think you started coaching at Norfolk High when I was still going there.
Back in 04.
Yeah. So, yeah.
'Cause
Because I graduated 06.
Yeah, it was with that group, and we had an undefeated team. We went 9-0 with Austin Wells and Reed Lancaster and
Yeah, that was after me.
Nate Purdom.
Yeah.
No, those guys were in 2003. I want to say that year was 2003. They were ninth grade. So
Oh yeah, because you were coaching. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you guys went really well. Yeah, okay. I get it now.
But
Because
yeah,
you were the freshman coach.
yes,
Got you. Yeah, you guys did really well. That's awesome.
So I have a question
Yeah.
for a player. You said you did a workout with the Chiefs
Yes.
and workouts with other teams. Is that just you showing your PR, or what actually entails with those workouts?
Well, and it kind of just depends on who you are and what they're looking for. They knew that I had just played a game like 2 nights ago, and one of my knees was kind of swollen still. So they just basically had us come. There was no 40 time, none of that kind of stuff. It was like coming in running routes, like an hour, 45 minutes worth of just routes. Me and the quarterback and their guys. They had us come in, take you through the locker room and show you things, give you a shake or whatever. Have your shirt and shorts in a locker room for you, a locker right there for you, like you're one of the guys. You change, put your bag up, do all that, and then Yeah, we went into the indoor facility that the Chiefs had and did all our stuff there. I just, if I knew then what I know now, I would have sold myself a little bit more to the people. You're kind of just they're awestruck a little bit, and I was acting as my own agent, but my Coach Hagee, went with me. But he wasn't really an agent. He just went with me. Mm-hmm. So like I said, if I knew now, I would have. They just give me
pushed
one.
Yeah,
just give me one shot. I'm gonna catch the ball. I'm gonna score. I would have just sold my soul, and that I think that would have made a difference. Yeah.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm. Are you okay if we take just a quick pause?
Go for it.
Okay. All right, we're back. Sorry, I'm back to I gotta pee every hour nowadays. So let's get into your coaching path a little bit. I know you got to get out of here in a little bit, but we'll try to kind of get through it. I'm going to go with what I've got. If you need to throw something in there, this is what I had more research on this. So,
okay.
So varsity offensive coordinator for Claremont High School in San Diego.
Yep.
So take us so you left Tulsa.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the.
So no, that was while I was playing in New York. While I was playing in New York, I went back home
to 2001.
Yep, I came back in the off season, and I was the offensive coordinator there.
Okay, how was that experience?
That was good.
Was your first coaching experience?
Yeah, it was good. It was actually a pretty trying time because we had a major major shakeup in the middle of the season, but we got through it, and we ended up having some pretty good kids. Actually, my quarterback at that time was Drew Smith, who is now the I want to say he's the tight end coach at Bishop Gorman.
Oh, really?
Out in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. So Drew, that was where I started out. Then we did another year there at Claremont. Had a pretty good group. I mean, now I was starting to feel get a grasp for what we were doing. Our JV team, because we had such a small group of kids. We just had a JV and a varsity. Actually, we had a freshman team too, but we didn't have a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
So we had to play some of those JV kids as they started developing, because they ended up going like 8-0.
Really?
And like having a couple ballers on the team and things like that. And then varsity, we started out pretty good, and then we had to start bringing up freshmen to play JV, and not had to, but we were starting to see some development going on. So that was good. It was a good.
You might
thing.
as well start them off early, right? If they're that good,
right?
If they're good enough to play.
Well, and plus we needed some of these JV guys to be playing varsity more, so we had to do that, and it was good, and it helped out a lot of people's careers. Actually, a freshman, Kyle Siskowitz, his brother was Cameron. He was the older one on varsity, but Kyle was in the 9th grade, and we brought him up to varsity, and he was busting heads. He ended up going to the Vikings.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we had a couple guys. I had a guy, also a receiver, because I was running the spread receiver, 3 trips and one guy on the backside, things like that. I had Nick Cleaver, a 6'3" receiver. He ended up getting a scholarship to University of New Mexico, and Hal Mummy, who's one of the godfathers of the spread, was his coach. So that was one of the cool things I like to how Mummy he seen my offense and took one of my guys, and
that's awesome.
And did
so
that.
obviously he thought you were doing well.
Yeah. Well, the kid was doing well, so that was all that mattered. So there was some kids we had that were able to go on and have some pretty good careers, and the school we were at was not a predominant winning school, but to be able to go in and help some of those kids to further their careers, it was great.
That's awesome.
And then from there, after that is when I moved to Norfolk.
Yep.
Yeah. So then that 2003 season there, I was there on that freshman team. We went undefeated, had a pretty good group, and then so that's 2003. 2004 was there as well, and then at that time I was still playing arena football, but I coached at high school ball, and so at this point I was starting to think about, I think I want to try to get back into coaching professionally,
right?
So then I still was at the high school level up until 2007, and then I decided to give the Quad City organization to call, see what was going on. And
So were you at Norfolk High from 03 to 07 then?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I ended up going to just getting a hold of the Quad Cities, talked to him, and got things worked out with the head coach, and then ended up going there as the special teams and receiver coach. That was 2007. By the end of the 2007 season, there were some issues, and our coach ended up getting relieved of his duties. And then I ended up taking over as the offensive coordinator at the end of the 2007 season. So then, and we had a pretty good offense. We had a pretty good team. We had a pretty good thing going. Then 2008 came, and so now I had a full off season and everything to
Get
everybody ready. Excuse me, and do everything we had to do. And then I ended up having a receiver. That year we had, well, let me back up. 2007, when I took over the end of the season, we had 3 receivers that had 1,000 yards and 100 catches. Wow. And then that next year, when I took over at my whole season, we were 3 catches away from doing it again. And one of the guys, Jesse Smith, was the league's leading receiver. So,
wow.
Yeah, he was doing that. And then, and actually he was up. The second leading receiver was, well, there was 3 of them. It was Jesse, it was Rod Windsor, and then it was also Chris, what's his last name? Kenny. He's from Norfolk.
Chris Denny?
Chris Denny was one of the receivers. He was playing for Arkansas. He had a really good season. Yeah, so 2008.
So he played with you too?
No, he was playing for Arkansas. But
so
he was one of the top guys that was out there too.
Yeah,
at
he
that
had
point.
a few stints where he could have went to the NFL too.
Yep. And then and then after that, 2009 came, and then I ended up taking over as the head coach to end the season. And again, I had the league's leading receiver, Jesse. That year, he had about 170 catches for like 2,400 yards.
Wow.
50 touchdowns. So
you were just grooming them just like you were doing.
Yeah, well, I was just teaching them, teaching them the game. And our quarterbacks had thrown for, they had combined, I think one had like 92 and the other one had 8. They had combined for 100 touchdowns. So, yeah, we were letting it go. And then at that point, the AFL was having financial problems, and the AF2 was under the AFL, so.
Yeah, the umbrella.
Yeah, so and actually in 2009, they didn't even play arena football. They didn't have an Arena 1 season. It just was an Arena 2 season.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they just played Arena 2. And then when they started to bring back, like the next year or 2010, when they came back with the Arena 1 situation, a bunch of my guys now moved up back into the Arena 1 situation because there was no more AF2.
Right.
So, yep. So that's that. I was there 2007, 8, and 9, and then 2010 there was no season, and then I ended up going down to Abilene, Texas, to the Abilene Rough Riders as their head coach.
Was that something you sought out, or did they?
Well, at that time, because I was, 2009, that was the last season, and I was trying to get back in. And so I had to go, and there's there's different leagues around the United States, and this was the Southern Indoor Football League. So I reached out to some people and, used my resources and things like that. And then they had me come down there for a visit, and went down there, and we had a pretty good team and a pretty good situation. And then I think inevitably, I lived in Nebraska, there in Texas. They wanted somebody that was going to be down there
all the time,
pretty much all the time. And, I wasn't at that time, my kids were still young, and mom wasn't wanting to move. So I was just out of that job. Yeah. So
priorities had to.
Yeah. And then from there, so that's 2011, 2012 came, 2013, I was now back doing at the high school. Yep, did that. And then
you were coaching at were you doing at the varsity level at that point?
Yep. I was the receivers coach and the returners coach, really helping Coach Olson with some things. And actually I had, there's been just stints and times of greatness and just things happening. But I had Jake Yorth, who ended up being the number one receiver in the state numerically that year.
Really?
His junior year he was number one. His sophomore or his senior year he was number 2.
Wow.
Yep. So and he still has the records on the school.
I didn't realize it.
board.
I didn't realize we had.
Yeah. So if
Wow.
you go look back at the little record book.
Yeah, the record. Yeah.
Yeah, at the school, Jake Yorth is up there for pretty much all the receiving stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you can say that you were the coach for that.
Yeah, well, I just try to help people out any way I can, man.
Teach them well.
That's right. So then, I was there 2013, and then at that point, I decided I was gonna move back to California. I was going through a little bit of a separation, and I decided, I'll go back out here and try to regroup and start over, and I'll try to get on at one of the, better schools that was out there.
Yeah.
And so when I got home, I had already done the research. I've been watching, and even to this day, I watch what's going on back there and see. So once I seen what was going on, I kind of applied at a couple different places, and then ended up getting on at Helix High School. And I was there for a couple years. The first year I was the receiver coach with another Coach Ville. We were both receiver coaches, and then the second year I was the JV offensive coordinator. So, and then I still helped out with some of the receiver stuff, and then I also trained guys in the off season. So yeah, it was a good move in doing that, and then.
Was that a pretty good school out there?
A very good school. Yeah, it was high level. Everything we did was top notch. Our coach, Coach Troy Starr, was on. He's from Ohio with Pelini and Urban Meyer and those guys. So he coached with Urban Meyer on those Tim Tebow teams.
Okay,
and not necessarily coach. I think he was one of their sideline guys or something.
Yeah,
but he
coached
was
on the field.
But he coached at Taft High School in L.A. before that, and had done really, really, really well. So after that stint for him with the Gators, he came back to the charter school in San Diego and built that in. They were always had great tradition and winning and stuff like that, but he came in and did a great job, and they won, all that time and stuff. So I ended up getting on a staff with him, and it really opened my eyes and showed me some things that were different in coaching styles. Obviously, not everybody's a yeller and a screamer and all that kind of stuff, but everything we did was like next level. Like I said, we had 2 coaches. You might think you're the best coach in the world, but there's 2 of us because one of us needs to watch this side of the field, one needs to watch that side of the field, and we need to be correcting immediately,
right?
And loud. So if this guy's making a mistake on this side of the field, everybody hears what's going on, so that same mistake isn't being made by people moving forward, right?
Yeah.
We got to fix it now, and then it's done, and then you move forward.
Yep.
So it was really, really some next level type things going on there, and it helped me. Yeah, it helped me with the things that I'm doing, and we had a really good running backs coach who still helps these guys in San Diego. He helps put out the top backs in San Diego year in and year out. Jason Van. Shout out to Jason. He's and some of the things that he does. With those backs, it's amazing. And then to have a whole team of guys doing those things, it was kind of eye opening.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Definitely. That's crazy. That you'd think if you were that good at developing backs, you wouldn't want to just stay at one team. You just want to develop them on the on the side and get paid well to do that. You're like whatever. That's awesome that he chose to coach at a team and
he's doing that, and he's doing the side thing
too. I'm sure he is. Yeah,
because like Georgia's top back right now is from
really.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's just it's being in San Diego is just a lot different.
Right.
The talent level is a little bit different, and a lot different, and it's
a lot different. Yeah.
It's just more development going on because of the off-season training.
Definitely. And you can train outdoors all year round.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That probably makes a big difference being back here.
Well, here we're blessed to have the YMCA.
Yeah.
Like when I was playing and ending my career being out here, we didn't have that. You just had the little indoor track that you had to run around 52 times for a lap, and then other than that, honestly, your skill is going to sacrifice a little bit because you're not doing all the things. At least that happened for me.
Right.
I wasn't able to do all the things I was doing out in California, where you can just show up to a field and just do things. When I first came out here, actually, I'm being from California, you can just show up to a field and kind of just work out and stuff. And I didn't know that what Memorial's fields, how, that's the only, that's sacred. Yeah, it's sacred. And I went up there like, okay, here's a good piece of grass. That's a sanctuary. Yeah, here's a good piece of, I can go up and, man, the police came up there. I was like,
goodness.
Oh, Lord.
Man.
Yeah, so yeah, it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's crazy. And then 2016?
Yeah. So then I went to, I was getting that itch to coach professionally again, and you always want to do it, but sometimes you put your neck out there, and sometimes you don't. And so in 2016, I reached out to Coach Lingenfelter. I'd heard that they were needing a DB coach or something like that, and then I reached out, and then he hired me. So that's where I was 2016. And I was actually getting married at that time as well too. So,
yeah, it's a busy time for you.
Yeah, so it was busy. And so that after that season right there, I kind of had to shut it down.
Yeah.
To concentrate more on what was going on at home.
What's it like? You coached receivers forever. You played receiver. What's it like coaching DBs at that point?
Well, I also played some DB in arena football too.
Yeah,
so it was in the case of what we're doing. Most of the guys know how to play press and know the basics of what they're doing. Some don't, but I happen to have a really good group of guys. And really, it was just about basic arena. Because even though it was the indoor league that year, 2016, it was still, we got, instead of one guy in high motion, you got two guys in high motion.
Okay.
So now all we had to do is teach both of those guys to keep even inside leverage.
Yep.
That's basically that really what it boiled down to. And then teaching guys how to match up in your zones and having things go from a zone to go lock up to a man, now because you're down by the red zone and things like that. So it was fairly easy to teach. You just gotta. It's just very, very repetitive.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Definitely. But again, you got to get those fundamentals down, right?
100%.
So then, get married.
Yep.
Kind of walk away for a little bit.
Yep.
And
then what was that? 2017, 18, 19, and then I ended up.
I got Omaha Beef offensive coordinator in 2021 is what I've got.
Yep.
So if you got something before that, let me know.
No, there was nothing there. I ended up getting a call from their coach at that time, and
so they reached out to you.
Yeah, they reached out. They had a health situation going on or whatever the case may be. So they just needed someone to step in for a little bit. So I didn't finish the whole season there, but I just went down and helped out. Helped out for a while, and then that was pretty much the end of that season. And then
that's cool for you to do that, though.
Yeah. I went down there, just part of the game. If I lived in Omaha, it would probably worked out a little bit better because you're way up here, and
right.
But I from there I ended up going to. Then I ended up going to Billings.
Yep.
Okay, so the way that all happened was. It was just crazy. I called my buddy Haran O'Neal, who is the head coach in Salina. This was the first game of the season, and I asked him to get me some tickets to the Salina versus Sioux City game. So I went to that game. I'm up there just watching as a fan, just watching, and then Tuesday comes around, and I get a call from one of my buddies, Cedric Walker. He was the head coach in Gillette, Wyoming, and there might be this opportunity for you. And so I ended up, talking to the owner and talking to their head coach and getting some stuff figured out. And then, by Sunday, I was on my way to Billings to be their offensive coordinator.
That's quick.
Yeah.
That's real quick.
Yeah. And then so we played 2 games. There's the coordinator, and then the head coach ended up getting relieved of his duties, and then I took over as the head coach to end that season, and we ended on a 5-game winning streak, and then losing to eventual champion Omaha in the championship game or in the semifinals.
Semifinals.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of an awesome experience.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. So it was good. I mean, the guys bought in. It was a great experience. Got to see Billings, Montana, which is very, very. It's nice up there. I mean,
It's a beautiful country.
yeah, it's beautiful. And then after that season ended, which was last year, I got a hold of. Well, I was kind of on the outskirts because Gillette was going to be moving to Billings, and then that coach was going to take that position. So there was no more position for me.
Correct.
So then I got a hold of the ownership group in Rapid City, and things were transpiring with a couple different leagues, and things were we didn't know whether we were going, whether we were staying, or what was happening. And they ended up obviously offering me the job, and then told me we were going to the Arena Football League, which is what where I come from. So I was very, very, very happy to be getting back into that. And then make a long story short, this year, that would lead to this year. I mean, I recruited my butt off all last year at this time, recruited really, really, really hard, and got up to game time. We played one game, and the financial situation started to show its ugly head from the commissioner of the league, not the ownership.
Yep.
And then, a little bit later, we were pretty much done. At that point, I was trying to help players get on other places to help them out.
Which is good of you to do, because a lot of people probably wouldn't do that.
Yeah. And then I was just sticking around because I didn't want to just call somebody and say, hey, this is done up here and I'm leaving. What's up? And then just bounce. And the players are still around here,
Right.
So I waited a little bit, a couple of weeks to kind of help them get situated. And some of them went home, and others went to other teams and things like that. And then once I started to figure out, that this was not going to work, then I made my call and start figuring some stuff out. And then
That really shows your leadership, though. Sticking around for your players. I like that.
Well,
like
because
that a lot.
I mean, the same way I recruited him, I mean, it was all off the trust factor.
Right.
I'm telling you this stuff, and I'm telling you in good faith, and I'm not lying to you. I never lied once. Wasn't dishonest with you about our intentions for you here or anything. We didn't have to tell you, oh, we're going to give you all this money and get you up here and lie, because there's certain situations that happen like that. Yeah. So they understood and respected my straightforwardness with them. So they were, in return the same way with me.
That's good. That's awesome to hear. So that ceased operations.
Yep, that ceased operations. And then from there, again, the last guys were now moving out of the apartments and things like that. And, by that Saturday, everybody's going to be gone Sunday. And then Saturday, I had told them I was out of here, and then packed up my stuff and went home for a night, and then headed down to Salina.
Wow. So you're now in Salina.
Yep. Offensive coordinator.
Coaching.
Yes,
That's
sir.
awesome. And that was our scheduling conflict before.
Right.
I didn't know you were down there at the time, and we had scheduled something out, and I was like, oh shoot, he's not even here. Not even in town.
Yeah. That's how that all happened. Now, it was unfortunate, but it was also a blessing for me.
Yeah, for sure. That's great that you're down there, though. It's good that you still get to do what you love.
Right. Yeah.
I like that a lot. Do you have any other crazy stories from your coaching or playing career you want to share at all as we're kind of winding down here?
No, it's all been great, and it's been a great experience. I plan on doing it as long as I can. Without, hopefully not burning out,
Right.
because it's a tough gig, and I'm actually finishing up my master's degree, so we'll see where that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate that. We'll see where that might help lead, and then just keep plugging away, doing what I'm doing.
Is there an end goal at all? Is there a certain spot you want to get, or is arena football kind of where you want to stay?
Well, no, I'd like to be in the college or professional, like NFL level, because people might think it's semi-pro, but it's not. The way you prepare and the way you get ready and the way things happen in the arena league, it's some people can take it lightly and do things, not right, and then other people, if you do it right, it's still it's not as strenuous. You don't have to be at the office for 12 hours like the NFL,
Right.
but there's still work to do.
Right.
So so the end goal, is try to get up a little higher. It's obviously it's not for the money. I mean, yeah, you want to be rewarded for what you do, but it's just to help, develop and establish those relationships to help, people move on.
Are you chasing a championship as a coach? Is
No,
that
absolutely.
something you want?
No, well, I mean, you don't chase. You don't.
Not chase, but I mean, is that something you want?
Well, of course, you want a championship because, especially after you've played and done it as a player, you know what. So then now I'm trying to get the players to do it like that so
Right.
that they can be champions as well. So
I probably asked that the wrong way. I was more thinking, you had it as a player.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome for you to
well,
have
I mean,
it as a coach too. Not many players get that.
Right, 100%. And then it's hard. This year we happened to go to the semifinals, but and I won't say it was a struggle, but it was a difficult road. It's a road, and you got just all kind of things happening, and guys learning the game and things like that. So. But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, I'd like to win a championship as a coach because it just proves that the things that you've instilled and installed into the guys and the culture that you have, it's correct, and everybody's bought in. And then again, it goes back to everybody did the most that they could and won those individual battles, and that's what helped win.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Do you ever just sit there and wish, man, if I could just get out there again? Some of these guys aren't doing what they're supposed to do. If I could just go catch the ball.
Well, I mean, and sometimes, obviously, you can't do it in the game, but in practice, I will. But I mean, you can't do too much. I don't, because if I try to get out there and run like I used to, you bust a spring easy, because your body knows it's not ready to do all that. So, but yeah, I mean, that's one of the great things about being a player or a coach that played. And then if you played and had some success, you can kind of give those guys, and then you become a cheat code for those guys.
Right.
They know that if they just do these certain little things, that they're gonna have some good success. So that's kind of the most rewarding, other than like as you said, winning a championship. I mean, obviously we want to win, but then winning those individual battles, that's what it goes back.
Seeing them have success.
Yes, exactly.
That's good. Another good leadership quality you got there.
I try, man. I try.
Well, appreciated all the good stuff about your life, and hopefully people learned a lot about you. I do want to get into some of the questions that we ask everybody that comes on the podcast. Mm-hmm. With it being an election year, how do you feel about where the state of our country is right now, and do you feel that we are being well represented at the federal and state levels? Loaded question, but
yeah, it's loaded. I just hope that we can all, at the end of the day, they can come to common ground and make it right for everybody. Because there's not. I mean, I really don't want to get into all, but
that's okay. You don't have to.
There's not just one right way and not just one wrong way. I think we'd be better off if we could come together somehow with that thinking. I mean, the rules were made, and these this stuff was done many, many, many years ago. So I just think that everybody needs to use their better judgment, and let's just get this thing. But I know it won't happen like that because that's the way things are set up. So. You got to sway one way or the other, and I just really hope it doesn't cause too much division. And we're already going through enough as a country.
Do you think it already has caused too much division to
well,
begin with?
It has, because it's not just this didn't just start. This has bled over from years and years and years. So, I mean, where is the fix? How do we fix those things? I mean, people are. Yeah. So yeah.
Do you think it's turned into too much like a TV show? Like it's not even politics anymore. It's more of like a reality show.
Well, that is part of what it is. I mean, and that's what pays some of the bills and stuff like that. But I mean, I know they got to go after each other and talk about each other to they don't make have it. To. Well, they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, they shouldn't because that I think is kind of classless. But again, So, what's your next question?
Do you feel that the two-party system still works in today's time?
See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think it should just figure out and let's work something out so everybody can kind of make it work for both sides. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, I don't think we need to be stuck in the old ways of one way or the other. Because I'm not saying one way is right or the other is right, but I just think as people, they should be able to bring it together so it benefits everybody. And I mean, but you're not going to make everybody happy,
Right.
but the best we can, just make it to where everybody's on the same
Less
page.
division, more.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I get you.
100%.
Not a lot of people like those questions. So
Right,
good
right.
job. That was good. That was good. Last one. Where do you see yourself going in the future? Are you enjoying where you are? Do you see yourself staying in Northeast Nebraska?
I mean, that's kind of a loaded question, just because for me to coach on other levels and do other things, then I probably will not be around here
Correct.
at some point. You know, I do love being here. It's been great to me, helping the kids that I've helped and helping coach and meeting all the people that I've met up here has been wonderful. So I don't really know how long, that I'll be around, but I know it's been, it's been good, and I love doing what I do here and helping, kids and just being making a difference the best way that I can.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would hope to be coaching on another level here in the near future. And again, like you said, I probably won't be here.
Yeah.
if
So you're
that's the
here
case.
for a time, not a long time.
Yeah,
I get
that's
that.
it. My youngest daughter is she'll be 15 this year, or excuse me, 16 this year. So
we're getting close to
getting
graduating.
her out. Yep, and then
And then you'll be in the NFL
so something. I mean, because
or college.
yeah,
or something.
something has to happen before then. I would think. I mean, it's not my journey. I'm just following the man upstairs.
Well, you get your big coaching gig. Don't forget this little media group down here in Norfolk, Nebraska.
Yeah, I'll make sure we get another session if that's the case.
Yeah, for sure. We can get another session in anyway. It'd be
Okay.
fun to bring you on a sports show or something sometime. We can talk some football and
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
Well, I do appreciate you coming on, Shon. I hope we got your story out the way you wanted to. Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah.
We tried to.
Yeah, 100%.
And we'll get you back on sometime. It was a lot of fun. I had a great time hearing your story and getting to talk with you.
Nice.
So thanks to my producer, Kole Peterson. Without him, the show wouldn't be what it is. Huge thanks to Shon King. We really appreciate you making the time to be with us today.
Yes, sir.
And keep on the look for more great episodes, and we'll see you guys next week.